Hey guys, this is AwesomeJohn22, and first I want to preface this review by saying that if I seem a bit more subdued today, that's because of some things going on in my life right now. I am going to try to bring content to you guys, but both the reviews I plan on reviewing today, this one, or shooting today rather, this one and Transformers Animated Leader Class Bulkhead, I might seem a little off in them. Just know that it's not necessarily a reflection of the figures being reviewed. It's a personal matter of mine that I'm dealing with. It's something that's going to take a while, but that is not what we're here to talk about today. We are here to talk about these figures, which I mentioned in the coming soon section of my last video, referring to them as the Ultimate Universe Avengers, I believe. And you may or may not know these guys as the Ultimates from the Ultimate Universe comic books, brought to you by Marvel. And I can't honestly remember if it was in one of these videos or on my blog or where I've said it, but I've said before that I do not like the Ultimates. The Ultimates being the Ultimate Universe version of the Avengers, upon which the two animated films, Ultimate Avengers and Ultimate Avengers 2, were based. Do not like them. I think they're terrible people. I think they're terrible characters. I think their story arcs are pretty terrible. The animated films did a fairly good job of making them likable by combining some aspects of their backstories with aspects of the mainstream Avengers backstories, making them more like those characters. But for the most part, I do not like them. Aside from their designs, which is why when I saw that these figures were coming from a few different waves, actually, I went and picked them up. We have Ultimate Captain America here with his lighter blue costume and these cool gray camo army pants, which I will talk about more in the details section of the review, who came from the Captain America the First Avenger toy line. We have Ultimate Iron Man, who came from the Iron Man 2 movie toy line. We have Ultimate Hawkeye, who came from the Avengers movie toy line. And we have Ultimate Thor, who also came from the Avengers movie toy line. And whether or not they planned on giving us these guys over the course of those few toy lines or not, or it was just a coincidence, they just needed designs for supplementary figures, I don't know. But either way, these are the characters who appeared the most different from their mainstream counterparts in the Ultimates. And I really appreciate that we got them because I like these redesigns. I think they're very valid, and I think they are very nice and modern without invalidating the designs of their mainstream counterparts. And I should get it out of the way first, right off the bat, that Thor came with a big oversized spear / axe thing with a pop open gimmick that was stupid, and I proceeded to lose it immediately. Hawkeye came with this big Gatling gun bow thing with giant missiles that could launch out of it that was oversized and stupid, and I proceeded to lose it immediately. Iron Man came with a second head that looked dumb, and I proceeded to lose it immediately. And Captain America there was, I believe, the only one who didn't come with something that was oversized and stupid. And that's just because his oversized and stupid gimmicky object was his shield itself, which of course I couldn't promptly lose because he has to have his shield. And because of that, we're going to go ahead and take a look at him first, because it's for that reason that he's my least favorite out of this four. You can already see the blades popping out of the shield. Overall, let's remove it from his arm. The shield itself doesn't look that bad. It's got this really cool light blue metallic paint with this really cool metallic red and metallic silver. And it's not overly thick or anything, and it does clip to him just fine. The problem is, it has these blades. They're designed to pop out like so. And then you can actually split the shield. And I'll show you briefly what these are meant to do. You can then clip, and I use that term loosely, these two blades onto his arms, and you can see the problem. They don't stay at all. But the idea is that you clip them to his arms, and then he can punch people with them, with the blades. And that's just stupid. I do not like it, but you can see here, this is all glued together. There's no screw holes. I can't just take it apart and remove the slidey blades, which is a real bummer because it's stupid. So what I would like is to find a paint match to this and repaint the blue on another Captain America's shield that is more simplistic, this color, and replace this shield with that one. But I do not have the resources nor the confidence in my skills to do that, so I leave him with this for now and just kind of deal with it. But otherwise, bringing us in close on Captain America here, without knocking the others over, hopefully, you can see he's got some similarities to other versions of his costumes, with the dark underneath his arm there. But the blue is definitely lighter than pretty much anything we've ever seen. See, so there's a star there. Red gloves. Everything up here looks fairly classic, though, otherwise. Then you get down here to the pants, which have this really cool, really dark, grayish, greenish camo pattern on them, which is coming off surprisingly poorly on the camera. But you can see, kind of see what I'm talking about. And then these like standard military boots, which gives him the feel of a soldier without sacrificing any of the modern Captain America's charm and appearance. Articulation, of course, is the standard for that era, though his joints are very stiff. There is this shield again. Even with 2 points of attachment, it doesn't really want to stay. But as you can see, he articulates fairly well with all of the standard. His legs don't go out any further than that, which is kind of a bummer. With all of that standard articulation of that era, with the double jointed knees and everything, with the rotation in multiple points, ball jointed heads, they can do the full 360 Exorcist twist, and overall decent accessories, though again I wish that he had come with a regular shield and then this shield as well, since all of these other guys came with their regular weapons in addition to the gimmicky ones. It just kind of bummed me out. And I should point out that I don't think any of these, this is just going to keep happening now that I've removed the shield, I don't think any of these guys, except maybe Ultimate Iron Man, actually said Ultimate on their packaging. So if you are, screw it, leave it over there. So if you are looking to pick any of these guys up, you could probably Google Ultimate so-and-so action figure and get them to pop up, but I wouldn't bank on it. So yeah, there's that. Moving on to Ultimate Iron Man, who I am going to keep in this kind of quarterback pose just to annoy people. As you can see, he looks like he's about to throw a football or something. No, he's shooting his repulsor blast is what it is. And he's, I'm just going to come right out and say it. I love this design. It's reminiscent of the Silver Centurion. It's reminiscent of the Hulkbuster. It's reminiscent of several fantastic mainstream Iron Man armors without being like any of them. It's something completely new and something completely unique that is still somehow recognizable as Iron Man. And because it came from the Iron Man 2 movie line, its articulation is even better than Captain America, with I believe a hinge joint and a ball joint in the head. Full waist articulation, and there goes Hawkeye. Knew that was going to happen. Full hip articulation, double jointed knee, excuse me while I stand these guys back up. And it is because of this articulation that I really dug deep into the Iron Man Assemblers toy line when it first came out. It's just phenomenal at this stage, and gets just absolutely wrecked by the time the Iron Man 3 toy line comes around. Like, I haven't even talked about the Iron Man 3 figures that didn't come as part of the Assemblers toy line that were at that scale. And I probably never will, because I have a feeling that touching one would burn my flesh like acid. Either way, though, this guy's paint. He came from the later era of the Iron Man 2 line, at least as far as I could tell, looking him up on Google before this review for about 10 minutes. And therefore his paint is surprisingly good, considering how notorious that line was for bad paint. You can see everything lines up the way it's supposed to. There's no bleed. He just looks absolutely fantastic all the way through, and he's really dynamic. And I don't know, I just love this. It's kind of like Iron Man if he tried to make his suit able to do as many things as possible. It's stronger than the mainstream Iron Man suit. It's more physically powerful, has more powerful weaponry, but it's also bulkier and requires an entire team of people to assemble. And I just think that's a really cool idea. And as I said, his only accessory was the second head that came with him that, if you're really curious about it, Google it. But I did not like it at all. Let me just leave it at that. Hawkeye here, who came with a big oversized bow, as I said. I don't remember the specifics of it. It was some kind of big, dumb thing. You can see also came with other accessories. I think he came with a fourth gun at some point, but I may just be making that up. But you can see he has one kind of handgun here, another kind of handgun in his hand, and a crossbow. And this is exactly what I'm talking about with Captain America. This is how you do a figure like this. One that you want to be part of a line that will appeal to kids, but despite the fact that it's a character that you are clearly gearing towards collectors. You include a gimmicky weapon that the kids will love, and then you include their regular gear as well, because Hawkeye in the Ultimate Comics does use the crossbow more than a standard bow. If he even uses a standard bow at all, I'm not sure he does. And shoots guns a lot more often. And you can see, just like Captain America, his gear is a lot more military, despite still being purple, as is typical with Hawkeye. You can see all kinds of straps and buckles and the knee guards, and he's got some elbow guards, and he's got little wrist guards, and the headset, and it looks like infrared goggles, and very, very cool, very, very modern, without invalidating the actual look of the character. And I really like that. It's the reason why, despite not liking the Ultimates themselves, I really like their character designs, as I've said before. However, this guy came from the Avengers toy line, which was starting to deteriorate. The Captain America the First Avengers toy line was already not as good as the Iron Man 2 toy line, and this just declined even further. You can see his crossbow was bowed in the packaging, and I haven't been able to get it fixed because it's so thin. The same goes for his sidearm here. They're not super obvious, but there are imperfections in the paint where the edges look frayed. And again, it's not super obvious, but it's not great either. You can see his buckle is only kind of well painted. Overall, it's just between that and the fact the plastic doesn't feel quite as good as on the Iron Man 2 figures, or even the Captain America the First Avengers figures. It just isn't great quality, but he definitely looks good. He definitely looks dynamic, and I'm definitely glad I picked him up. In terms of articulation, it's standard for Avengers / Captain America figures. However, he doesn't have a double jointed knee, which I always thought was odd, and his arms don't bend very far either, which I thought was weird too, considering this is a character who's going to be shooting stuff. I mean, a lot of his posability depends on his arms. He also only has 1 point of rotation on his leg, unless you count up here, which is really only... It's really only there for positioning this ball joint underneath in the hip. But I guess it counts. So not bad. But not great either. So that brings us to the final figure here, Thor, who looks fine, I guess. I don't like his design as much as the other Ultimates. But coming in close on him, you can see, despite him being from the Avengers toy line, his paint is spot on. I mean, you would imagine those discs on his chest, whatever those are supposed to be, would have some paint bleed, but they do not. It's absolutely fantastic. It matches up with the sculpting perfectly. You can see he's just ripped with muscles. It's just absolutely fantastic. You can see a great wash in his Goldilocks. Good paint on his neckbeard. He's just very well made. The plastic quality is even better. It makes me wonder if this figure was originally intended for a different toy line and got lumped in with this one for some unknown reason. Articulation is about the same as Hawkeye. In fact, I'm pretty sure it's exactly the same as Hawkeye, except that the joints in his hips seem to be touching, so they move in tandem unless you choose for them not to. But otherwise, he's quite good. His arms don't even bend all the way, just like Hawkeye. Head articulation's good, but he has the long hair, and that gets in the way, as it does on most figures with long hair. And you can see, as his one accessory that wasn't terrible, he got a hammer, but, and this is the part that disappointed me on this figure, it was also horribly bowed in the packaging, and I've tried several times now to use the heat cool trick to straighten it out, and it doesn't seem to want to work. So I just kind of position him in ways like sideways like this, where it's not as noticeable how bent up it is. But it's kind of disappointing because despite the fact that this is a radical departure from the traditional design of Mjolnir, either from the Old Norse legend or from the comic books, I think this is really cool. It makes Mjolnir look 100 times more deadly than he does in the mainstream continuity. Is it even a he? As it does. It's a thing. I don't know. I don't know how you refer to a semi-sentient piece of dwarven metal. I guess I'm just weird that like that. Either way, if you are a fan of the Ultimates and you're also a fan of 3 3/4 inch toy lines, these are the figures for you to get. There have been other Ultimates characters as action figures before, but it's always been in 6-inch toy lines or even larger. And as someone who collects Marvel figures and most action figures of human/humanoid characters almost exclusively in 3 3/4 inch, these were a godsend to me, considering how much I love the designs of especially these two guys. I was so ecstatic when I saw these guys starting to pop up. Because as I said, most of these, the other characters, are not as radical a departure as these guys are from their mainstream design. So if I want a Black Widow, I can use one of the existing Marvel Universe Black Widows. If I want Nick Fury, I can use one of the movie Nick Furies, since they're basically the same person. If I want Wasp, even, the little tiny Wasp that I showed in my collections video, even fits fairly well and can fit in with these guys. Black Panther is effectively the exact same design as the mainstream version. Even Hulk, who could stick any old Marvel Universe Hulk figure behind these guys, and he would look enough like the Ultimates Hulk that he would fit in. These were the ones we needed, and these were the ones we got, and I'm so happy that we got them. And if you like these designs, or you like the Ultimates, or you just like collecting decent to good figures, well, I should say good to great figures, since I wouldn't say any of these are as low as decent, you should definitely check these out and try to pick them up, despite the fact that they are pretty old at this point, and finding them isn't going to be super easy. So that's really it for this review today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it, because I sure enjoyed making it. So guys, it would really help me out if you would like and subscribe and leave a comment down below if you feel so inclined. In the description down below, you will find a link to my very outdated collections video, which I do plan on updating soon, I promise. As well as all the other things I've been working on. Please check those out. And if you see anything in that collections video that you would like me to review, let me know and I will see what I can do. This has been AwesomeJohn22, and I will talk to you guys later.